Okay, let's unpack this one. Today, we're diving deep into a really um, powerful and personal account. It was shared directly with us by a listener.
Yeah, the source material is this single, raw narrative. It details just this intense series of events after a major betrayal in her life.
Right. And our mission with this deep dive, it's more than just retelling the story, isn't it?
Definitely. We want to pull out those key moments, really try to understand the emotional journey from her perspective
And see what insights we can maybe gain about, relationships, trust.
and how people move forward after something like heartbreak, all drawn from this one unique viewpoint.
Exactly. This isn't just about what happened. It's a look at navigating a really deep personal crisis.
We're going to trace the path the narrator took. We'll call her Zoe. For this, right from that moment, her world just shattered.
All the way through to how she started rebuilding. It's tough work, but ultimately freeing, as she describes it.
Yeah, using her experience as a lens, really, to look at some quite universal themes.
So the narrative kicks off by setting the scene of, well, anticipated calm.
Mm-hmm. Zoe had planned what sounds like a really quiet, low-key thing for her 30th birthday.
Just a simple dinner at home. Her husband, David, a few close friends. That was the plan.
Right. Everything was ready. Candles, table set, wine, all set for what should have been just a happy, normal evening,
And the source material really emphasizes that feeling, that peaceful anticipation.
which makes the contrast with what happened next so stark, doesn't it?
Absolutely. She describes David walking into the living room. His face, she says, was unreadable right before he dropped the bomb.
And the impact was just immediate. She heard this tremor in his voice, but didn't fully get it until he sat her down, looked her right in the eyes.
That's when the words came out. I'm leaving.
Wow. Can you imagine hearing that on your birthday?
Her first reaction, as she tells it, it was just pure disbelief, confusion, maybe even like thinking it's absurd because of the timing.
Yeah, she stammered something like, What? What? Leaving? David, is my birthday. Such a human thing to say when you can't believe what you're hearing.
But then comes the actual depth of the betrayal. David didn't give a big explanation right away, just, I'm leaving for someone else.
Because he can't keep pretending. And then he whispered the name,
The name that just adds this whole other layer of pain, it's Rachel.
Rachel. And the narrative makes it so clear Rachel was Zoe's best friend, her confidant, basically family.
So David leaving her for Rachel.
Yeah.
It's this devastating double betrayal, partner and best friend.
Yeah, not just the partner, but the person you rely on most outside that relationship.
And her description of reacting to that name,
Yeah.
it's intense.
Oh, absolutely. Feeling the world tilt, blood rushing, chest tightening, literally couldn't breathe.
Wanted to scream but was just frozen, crushed by his words and who he was leaving her for.
The tears, when they finally came, she said they were hot, angry.
It really shows how betrayal isn't just like emotional or psychological. It hits you physically, hard.
She felt trapped in a nightmare. The conversation after that just became a blur of pain. So many unanswered questions from her side.
And David, he just packed a bag, kissed her cheek, and left. Just like that, she says.
The suddenness of it all is brutal, isn't it? 1 minute, birthday dinner plans.
The next he's gone, and she's left with the wreckage.
And the worst part for her, she writes, was that immediate self-doubt.
Yeah.
How did I miss the signs? From both of them.
Great. And then having to spend her 30th birthday totally alone, that image,
Mm.
it really stays with you.
It does. So the weeks that followed are described as just this blur. Pain, disbelief.
Her whole world's shaken up, trying to pick up shattered pieces, find some kind of normal.
Each day felt like forever, she says, as the reality just sank deeper and deeper.
And then, like twisting the knife, a few days later, Rachel gets in touch.
Yeah. Zoe emphasizes just the sheer shock that her best friend, her family, could do this.
She hesitated, right? Grappling with it. But she did answer the call.
In that call, Rachel's voice is described as soft, almost pleading, using those, classic lines.
This wasn't about you.
I never wanted to hurt you. Yeah.
Those ones.
Which, understandably, Zoe's response was sharp, cutting, just pointing to the reality.
Not softening it. Sleeping with my husband. That's the core of it.
Right. Rachel's explanation, as reported, the old, it just happened.
Didn't plan for it. You hear that a lot.
But Zoe apparently just cut her off, refused excuses, said she needed time, space, hung up.
And the silence after that call, confronting the friend. That emptiness was profound for Zoe. It's the breaking of that second core relationship.
Yeah. The source then goes into the days after, processing all these layers: disbelief, anger, sadness.
And it specifically notes the betrayal by Rachel hit hardest. Maybe because that trust felt different,
Yeah.
unconditional.
She kept questioning, how did I miss it? The looks, the
With
conversations.
acknowledging in hindsight that maybe she had chosen to ignore it. That self-blame is often part of it, isn't it? Definitely. So she turns to other friends for support, which is natural.
But interestingly, their words, you'll get through this, you're stronger.
They felt hollow to her, or just unhelpful.
Yeah, it made the pain worse, she felt. It shows how isolating that kind of deep pain can be. Sometimes even well-meaning words just don't land right when you feel totally broken.
You don't feel strong in that moment.
Not at all. And the loneliness. That's a really strong theme here. Scrolling through old photos of her and David.
Trying to figure out where it went wrong.
Yeah.
And seeing Rachel everywhere in those pictures.
Realizing none of her loyalty, her history with Rachel, none of it mattered. Just crushing.
Feeling like a ghost, she says. Lost her husband, best friend, and sense of self all at once.
So the narrative shifts then, weeks later, after that initial, really intense period. David calls.
Zoe describes her stomach just twisting into knots, hesitating.
But answering against her better judgment. That hesitation is key, right? Part of her knows better, but the history pulls.
Yeah. David's voice on the phone. Hesitant. Timid.
That's how she describes it. He admitted he screwed up, begged to talk, to see her.
And Zoe's reaction? A bitter laugh. Challenging his timing.
Now you want to talk after everything. It's got that bitter irony.
But despite that, she did agree to meet him. Familiar cafe.
And the description of David is telling. Disheveled.
Yeah.
Admitting the biggest mistake.
Saying what he had with Rachel wasn't something real, that he'd ruined everything.
It paints that picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The grass is greener.
Oh.
Fantasy just didn't pan out.
And then comes what the narrator calls the peak audacity moment.
Yeah. After all that, David just says it. I want you back.
I miss you. I miss us.
The sheer nerve. Asking for a return ticket after blowing up the bridge.
His justification, according to the source, it focused heavily on Rachel, right?
Totally. Rachel wasn't who I thought she was. It fell apart almost instantly.
And pointedly, she isn't you. Admitting he was selfish thought the grass was greener.
But found only regret. And here's a really crucial detail, you think.
Which one?
He revealed Rachel had started seeing someone else.
So this wasn't just some sudden epiphany about Zoe.
Seems like it was triggered by his rebound ending. He's alone now, and now he regrets it.
Yeah, that detail about Rachel moving on really highlights his motivation might be more about loneliness or disappointment.
Then actual remorse for hurting Zoe. But the focus then shifts powerfully to Zoe's response.
This is where she starts taking back her agency. She points out the irony of Rachel moving on first.
This is the big turning point in her journey, as she tells it. She states very clearly she spent the last month putting herself back together, learning to live without him.
And crucially, that she was doing better without you. It's not just survival anymore, it's improvement.
Her statement to him is so decisive, represents her taking control back. He doesn't get to come back just because you're lonely.
You made your choice. Now live with it.
And she stands up, walks out, feeling in control this time, feeling free from the dynamic he created.
Walking out of that cafe, she felt clarity. Saw him for what he was in that moment.
Someone who threw away something real for an illusion.
And she was just resolute, not letting him weasel his way back. Setting that boundary is huge after such a violation.
Massive step. The narrative confirms she ignored his follow-up attempts too. Calls, texts.
Which apparently escalated. From apologetic to desperate, then angry.
Yeah, sounds like a typical pattern. Accusing her of being heartless, not giving him a chance.
Flipping the script, denying his own responsibility.
Exactly. But then another twist.
Oh, right. Rachel gets in touch again. Text from an unknown number.
Hey, Zoe, can we talk? Zoe's reaction. A dry laugh. Curiosity, asking why.
And Rachel's reply, I messed up. I need to explain. Seems the consequences were hitting Rachel, too.
So they meet again. A bar this time. Rachel looks different, apparently. Confidence cracked.
Well, Zoe notes that she looked good. That's a subtle but telling detail, right? Her progress versus Rachel's struggle.
Definitely. Rachel confirms she and David broke up.
And Zoe, maybe with a bit of I told you so satisfaction, sort of predicts how it ended.
Yeah, like the moment the excitement faded, so did he.
And Rachel's response is frustration, echoing David, actually, saying David is just not the man I thought he was.
The irony isn't lost on Zoe.
No. Her final words to Rachel, according to the source, pretty sharp. Cutting.
Hitting that core irony.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think a guy who could betray his wife would be loyal to you?
Questioning Rachel's judgment, highlighting the predictable outcome.
Rachel expressed regret, apparently. I regret what I did to you every single day.
But Zoe's assessment in that moment, harsh, but maybe understandable, calling Rachel pathetic.
Stating they deserve each other and the misery you created for yourselves. It's her projecting that pain and anger onto them as a unit.
Rachel wishes she could take it back.
And Zoe's response really underscores that insight about consequences. You can't. Actions have consequences, and you're finally facing yours.
Finishes her drink, stands up.
And delivers that final, incredibly potent line to Rachel.
Thanks for taking out the trash for me. Walks away.
Wow. That line just captures a complete perspective shift from being discarded to seeing them as the waste.
This moment feels like a crucial turn towards real healing for her. That night, she slept better.
Realizing revenge doesn't have to be some big dramatic act.
The sweetest revenge is simply moving on, building that better life, proving they didn't ruin her.
Feeling convinced that David and Rachel had both lost something real while she was gaining.
So fast forward a month in the narrative. Her life looks genuinely transformed.
The pain isn't gone, but it's a scar. A reminder, not constant agony.
She actively threw herself into her career, friendships, and most importantly, into me.
Rediscovering herself. Flourishing, not drowning.
The source gives specifics too. Redecorating, working out, a writing group.
Concrete steps.
Nah.
Rebuilding herself outside of those old relationships.
Mm.
Acts of self-investment. Creating a new identity.
But the story isn't quite done yet, is it?
No. One final attempt from David. Messages again. Missing us. Asking to meet just one last time.
Zoe's reaction this time, a smirk. Recognizing he still doesn't get it. Still thinks he has a chance. Holds power.
He fundamentally misunderstood that she'd moved on.
Her action is so telling, definitive. She screenshots the message.
And sends it.
Yeah.
Directly to Rachel.
It's not just walking away this time. It's this final act of agency, highlighting the absurdity, reinforcing the new reality to both of them.
And Rachel's immediate reply.
That bastard. Which kind of confirms Zoe's assessment of their dynamic, doesn't it?
Totally. And Zoe's reaction to that reply is described as just laughing.
Realizing fully it wasn't my problem anymore. She's outside their drama now, observing.
David's absolute final message is reported as, "You'll regret this, Zoe."
A last attempt to inflict pain or control.
Maybe both. Her response. Shakes her head, blocks his number. Simple, decisive, final cord cut.
The narrative wraps up with this really powerful realization from Zoe. That she won.
But not by taking him back, or watching them crash and burn.
No, she won by actively building a life so much better than the one he abandoned.
It completely reframes winning. It's not about getting the person back or seeing the betrayer suffer. It's personal growth, independent happiness.
The final scene described is just so resonant. Laughing with friends over mimosas.
Such a stark contrast to that lonely 30th birthday.
Realizing it's the beginning of something amazing, feeling completely free.
Never been happier, she says. A powerful end to a really tough journey.
So, okay, what does this all really mean? We follow this incredible journey laid out in this one account. From utter devastation
to actively reclaiming herself, finding freedom, happiness, building a new life.
What's really fascinating here, I think, and a key insight from this particular narrative, is that shift from feeling like a victim.
Yeah, this profound layered betrayal by the two people she trusted most.
To actively reclaiming her agency. She didn't wait to be chosen again, did she? She chose herself.
To find her own success, build her happiness on her own terms. Yeah. Totally independent of them. It's a really powerful example of finding strength after trauma.
It definitely is. And the story, it raises some important questions for you, the listener, to think about.
Based on this account, how do you draw the line between just moving on physically maybe and achieving true healing, where the pain becomes that scar, not an open wound?
And if winning isn't about revenge or getting someone back, what does winning actually look like after you've faced significant personal loss and betrayal?
Yeah, something to maybe mull over as you go about your day.